welcome back to Raleigh Country Club. So Bob, we were talking about trying to make sure that when you got your wedges that we could get a better release point.
Yeah.
Try and get that ball moving from a low standpoint to a mid standpoint to a high standpoint. Off over here in the distance, I've got three different targets. The three different targets are going to be focused on trying to focus on that release point to get the club to be able to move up and through in the hitting zone. What we talked about before, we talked about this with the bounce in the bottom of the club. And having the club, when it's straight up and down, be the release point when that club hits the ground. So if that club hits the ground and your butt end of the club is square to that straight line, that's when you're going to get the most bounce under the club, and you're going to keep the loft on the club to be able to make the ball go through. So what I want to try and work on today is I want to try and work on getting those three different release points and being able to focus on being able to try and have you, when you hit, be able to release the club low for that low shot, mid for that mid-range shot, and then higher for that high shot. In order to create spin on the club, what we want to try and do is we want to try and release and stop that club on the way through. So what I'm trying to work on is we want to work on our focus on that release point and where we follow through with that club. So standing wise, what I want you to do is I want you to focus on the ball being on just on the inside of that foot, and the weight for this shot should be almost like you're standing on one foot. It should be almost completely front foot when you come through, so that when you make that contact is going to be straight up and down with that front right. It should lead to more consistency. I'm going to demonstrate. For the low shot, we're going to finish low. For the high shot, we're going to finish high. And the idea is to try and focus on those three different release points to try and make sure that you're getting that club to go through onto that angle. And what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and focus on a couple of different things. But what I want you to try and think about is that if you're trying to create more spin on that ball, you have to be able to stop very abruptly. Just kind of watch this ball spin. Go ahead. Let's give it a try. Very good. Now try and give me a mid about waist high for that release. So waist high up to about here for the release, and the release should be out here for that.
Another one?
Yep. Focus on having the ball be just on the inside of that front foot. And weight should be almost, remember, almost as though you're standing on that front foot, so that your strike
should I be open? I always play these like a little open.
I think for this shot, if you're doing those short release points, you can certainly open the stance a slight bit, but it doesn't need to be in order to create that spin to go through. Notice that when you square up, so you square to that target line, that shot went straight through the hoop. The other one where you were open, the shot went over to the left. And that's what usually happens if we happen to have that stance open. So some people are able to do that to get a little bit more freedom in that swing. But if you're not looking for a huge distance or a huge high shot, you usually can be pretty square to be able to make that go through. And then what you're looking at sometimes is really just the outside of that glove. So that glove hand can be that pathway right down and through. And if you mark this, you could have this down on the ground when you practice. It would certainly help with that. Go ahead and give me another one.
Same to the middle?
Yep. So what will happen is when you lean forward, so leaning forward, like this. What I want you to do is I want you to focus on just being on that front foot.
Just wait without leaning.
Yeah, as opposed to shifting your weight through.
Okay.
And one good way to do that, go ahead and set yourself in. I'm just going to take this and I'm going to put it right next to you here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that you can't move into that.
Okay.
Go ahead and give me one more. Remember, it's that smooth acceleration, and what you
Yeah.
want to do is you want to continue to
Come on.
stop that club abruptly going through. Good. Give me one more and give me more acceleration and that abrupt through, and I want you to finish high, like about shoulder height up
Okay.
here. Good. And notice that the ball gets up in the air quick,
Yeah.
spins, and stops
Stops,
quicker
yeah.
on the ground. Much more control.
Nice.
Good thing to practice.
Nice.
You can come out and practice that not only with the rod next to you.
Yeah.
The rods that I have for that, and the hula hoops, those are basically, you know, very small to try and get.
Yeah.
You can get them anywhere to try and be able to work on that. You could use any sort of difference. You could just literally put the pole up there
Yeah.
and use that for your different heights
Mhm.
and be able to try and work on getting that through. So the keys to this are to work on getting your leg forward,
Yeah.
trying to square yourself up, and the biggest